Welcome back to the 60s and 70s horror movie and fashion, where we feature a horror movie from the 60s and 70s and talk about not only the movie itself, but also the fashion. If you're new here, I'm Ashley, and I'm a lover of all things 60s and 70s. I love the fashion, of course, but I also love the movies, specifically the horror movies, the music, and everything in between, just not the values. So if you're into that sort of thing, stick around and let's get started. Today, we are featuring The Omen. This is a 1976 film about a diplomat and his wife that deliver a child and name him Damien. And as the child gets older, well, chaos ensues. After Damien's first nanny hangs herself, yes, one of the better parts, one of the most creepier parts of the movie. Now, after Damien's first nanny hangs herself, Father Brennan warns Robert the diplomat that Damien will kill Catherine, his wife, with the unborn child she is now carrying. Shortly after, Brennan dies and Catherine miscarries. As more people around Damien die, Robert investigates Damien's background and realizes his adopted son may be the Antichrist. Now, this film was inspired primarily by the biblical book of Revelation, but also America's interest in the end of times. And also, this was peak time for horror movies and things like The Antichrist. So think about The Exorcist and other films during this time. And of course, the precursor, Rosemary's Baby. Ultimately, it was a satanic trend that was happening in horror movies. Now, there are some rumors and some interesting things that surround this movie. There were a lot of rumors during the production of things happening and things going wrong. For example, dramatic accidents on set. And then that spurred that this set and this movie was cursed. And if you know anything about horror, you also know that was a similar story of the making of The Exorcist. Now, what we do on this series is we actually go through the movie, the peak moments in the movie, and then, of course, peak fashion moments in the movie. And since this was in the 70s, there are some great fashion moments. Now, let's talk about the film itself. Now, like I said, it is a story of a family that is just trying to build their family, a diplomat and his wife. So they do have quite the bit of luxury and money over time. Things kind of get a little chaotic. And Damien has a birthday party, and his nanny ends up hanging herself. And that really kickstarts all the events to follow. The way that he depicts pure evil is kind of crazy. And after this incident, what ends up happening is a ripple effect. He meets his watchdog, so a dog that kind of protects him if anybody is going to kind of mess with him. And then he gets a new nanny, and this nanny is involved with knowing what he is and ultimately protecting him at all costs. And the father is getting suspicious. A priest tips him off that he should look into the origin of the child. And what ends up happening is he eventually finds out the true origin of Damien and is terrified of what is to come next. And so many crazy things happen in this movie, and the child is just pure evil. You're just like, wow, like it is intense. And I love this movie. I think it's not like scary in the sense where you're like creeped out, kind of like a movie like a slasher movie, or like it more makes you think. It's like, wow, like, ooh, there is pure evil in this world. And it also was at the time a big thing in horror movies to have like to have a satanic theme. And so things like The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby, those were things that were peak at the time. And people were intrigued by it. And it was because, a lot of America was religious. So it kind of hit home for a lot of people. Now, with that being said, Damien does try to basically kill the mother. And the mother is pregnant. So he's like, no, he doesn't want any of that. And ultimately, she does die. And spoiler alert, the father really does like realize the true evil of this child and does try to put an end to it. And the ending is crazy. Like, it's such a good ending. And it does leave it open, although I wish they would have ended with this film and not done sequels. They did. But that's kind of like what ends up happening when a horror movie is popular. They're like, let's pump out another one. And the sequels aren't terrible, but the first one is just so good and shot just so beautifully that it just, it's kind of a one and done. Kind of like The Exorcist, like that would have been a beautiful one and done, but we went on and we did more. And I do enjoy like sequels of those movies because I like watching them, but they never hold up to that first one. And I think the last scene is very iconic. And like I said, that little boy, amazing little actor because he creeps you out for sure. And they did a really great job with casting as well as just that like really open book ending of like, that's what happened. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at some key moments or peak moments in the film. And we're going to start with the scene where Damien is having his birthday party. And it is a very extra birthday party because remember, his parents are diplomats, so they do have the money and funds to do more of an extravagant birthday party. And Damien is riding the carousel and you hear somebody kind of like yelling, Damien, Damien. And you just think maybe it's someone like off to the side, a parent or something like that. And then it eventually goes to the nanny who is standing on the roof and she basically says, it's all for you and hangs herself. So all the kids see this. Damien's kind of like sheltered from it by his mother. But you can see his like little face, and it is a really crazy scene. Like it's a disturbing scene. Like it's one you kind of remember. But it was shot really well, and that creep factor definitely got you in that moment. You're like, dang, like this child, woo, what's gonna happen next? And it definitely started a ripple effect in the film. And this is also where Damien spots and meets his watchdog. So it's like a two for one big moment in the film. And I thought this was a great scene, a great horror film scene. I think it's one of the scenes that you think of when you think of The Omen. Now, the next scene that really is iconic in this film. There are a lot of scenes that when you think of this film, you think of, and I think this is again another one of those scenes. It is when Damien is riding his bike. And he's kind of riding it in a little frenzy, and the nanny, his new nanny, that is kind of in on what's going on and his little protector. Number one, she's super creepy. Like when you think of a creepy nanny, that's what you think of for sure. And just personifies a little bit of evil there. And this music starts. The music in this film just really makes it, I think, more scary and eerie than anything else. It's got such a good score. And this music starts, and then you see the mom. She's cleaning, she's watering plants. She has to get on like a stool to water this plant that's like over the upstairs, and there's a railing, and then it goes downstairs. But first of all, I do want to say when I saw this, I was like, why would you do that? That's like super dangerous in general. Like, I feel like there would have been a safer way to do that, but that's just me. I think that's in every horror film. I don't know if I'm the only one that does that, but I'm like yelling at the screen, like, why are you doing that? Why are we running up the stairs when we could have ran out the door? Those types of things. And I think it's just a part of a horror movie that happens all the time. But eventually, the nanny opens the door to the little boy riding Damien, and he rides on out in a little frenzy. And you're like, this is not good. And he goes full throttle into the mom standing on this like stool or like, I think it's like a table. And she first glass shatters from what she was cleaning. Then she goes over the railing. She's holding on to the railing. And this is like, you're just like, oh my gosh. And the little boy gets off the bike and is like watching her. Like, again, that's like pure evil. Like, doesn't help her, just looking at her like, mm-hmm. And eventually she loses her grip and she falls. And in this like twisted way. And then they go back to Damien and him just looking, and the mom's not moving. And you're just like, and he literally just goes and runs into his bedroom. Like nothing happened. Like that was a normal day for me, the Antichrist. And it is crazy. And it's just like, it's a scene that definitely is like fear unlocked a little bit. Like, those things that you're like, oh my gosh, like that scares me. Like cleaning something and you fall, like, ooh, ooh. Like anytime I clean something and I'm standing on something, I'm like, I'm going to eat it. I'm going to fall. So I understand that fear a little bit. And it just showcased like how Damien had no remorse. Like he was just like, yeah, here we go. And how pure evil he like truly was. And it definitely escalated from the nanny hanging to that point. It just like slowly shows like how evil this like child is. Like this child is evil. And I love that lead up. I love it. I love that intensity of the movie of like when the father's trying to find the birthmark and the nanny's being super protective. And I love that. And I just think it's interesting when they bring religion into a horror movie because we've all been a part maybe of some sort of religion and we know about it. And I think it just, when you bring it into a horror movie, it's something that's real and in people's lives. So it makes it a little scarier because it's like, ooh, like it does say that in the Bible and, all these things. So it definitely brings another creep factor into it. And last but not least, probably one of the best parts of the movie, to be honest. And I know it's the end, but it's such an iconic scene. And if you've never seen it before, this is a spoiler, so, just beware. But if you have seen it, it's a great scene. I remember the first time I saw this, and I really didn't know what was going to happen. I went in kind of green to this movie, and I was like, at the end. Like my mouth was just wide open. And it is the scene where the father, the diplomat, he takes Damien into the church. He's going to kill Damien. And the kid is freaking out because number one, he doesn't want to be in a church. There was like a scene before that's really good too that they're going into a church. They're going to go into a church as a family and he freaks out. He just is like chaotic and they don't end up going in. So now imagine he's bringing him into a church. So he's freaking out. He lays him on the altar. He's gonna take it away. Like he's ending this kid's life because he knows how evil he is. And what's crazy is that this part is really kind of like it tears at your emotions a little bit because you're like, is maybe the father crazy and this kid has nothing to do with it? Or is this kid purely evil? Which he is. And Damien's like, no, daddy, no. And it's kind of like that little bit like makes you have mixed emotions because it's a child. But then, like, you remember all the things he did, and you're like, yeah, get it, go ahead. And then just as soon as he is going to kill Damien, the cops come in. And they're like, don't do anything, I'm gonna fire. And he goes to, stab Damien, and a shot is fired. They don't show what happens, it goes into kind of a blur. And then it leads to a cemetery and a burial. So you're like, you don't really know what happened just yet. You do see two coffins, so you're like, maybe it is Damien and the mother, like, who knows, right? And then slowly, after a few minutes of that ceremony, someone comes up to a man and says, Mr. President, the car is ready for you, or something along those lines. Don't quote me. And you see he's holding a little boy's hand. And when the little boy turns, it's Damien. So it's the mother and the father that are being buried. And remember, they were diplomats. So the president now probably adopted Damien. And when Damien turns his head, he's got a serious face, but then slowly it turns into this creepy smile. Like I'm gonna put a picture here. It's like creepy. Like, and it's such a good ending. And it ends like that. And so it's like he wiggled in his way into like power there. And you're like, man, that is not good. And it kind of leaves it a little blank. Now, we do know that there are other Omen movies which play on that movie, and that's great, but I just think if they left it there, it would have been so solid, like such a good movie. But that to me is one of definitely the peak scenes in that movie. And just so well shot. So well shot, so brilliant. And again, that like little kid actor, Chef's Kiss, like he's great. He definitely played a creepy little kid very well. Now, next we're gonna go into the fashion of the Omen. So let's take a look at some peak fashion moments. And a lot of these honestly are the mother. She has great style in this film, and I absolutely love it. And also, I love Damien's attire. Like, I think Damien's outfits are super peak kids fashion of the 70s, and I enjoy that. So we're going to take a look at that as well. So let's get into it. So first and foremost, let's take a look at the mom's fashion, Catherine Thorne. She does have really good 70s fashion. This is kind of like mid to late 70s fashion, and it definitely showcases what the fashion was like at this time. So the first look of Catherine Thorne's that I absolutely love is at the birthday party. She's wearing a white skirt and then a white vest, but underneath is like this sheer shirt and it has some flowers on it. And I love this look. If you know me, I love vests. So that is something that I absolutely adore. And I just love this look. I think it's like very kind of like chic yet like fashionable for the 70s. You see a little bit of a close up of it when she's holding Damien of like the details on the shirt, which I love that. I absolutely love that sheer shirt because number one, I love anything that has a lot of colors and patterns. And number two, you could wear that with so many things. You could wear it by itself, you could wear it with a pair of jeans. It's a very versatile, which I love. The next look of Catherine Thorne's that I love is the scene where they're going to the church. They're in the car, Damien, her, and her husband, and she's wearing this beautiful blue, like almost like a denim blue head wrap. And I love head wraps. I have a cute little black one that has a bow on the front. And I definitely want to get more after like rewatching this. I was like, I need more of those in my life. And she has a matching, like basically suit and skirt with it, same color, button up shirt, like suit jacket that has a collar. And I just love it. It's very different than a lot of the other looks in this movie that she wears. And I enjoy it. It's like dressy, but yet it's super, super like chic. And it, has that diplomat vibe. But I absolutely love the outfit. And I wish we could have saw a little bit more of it. You kind of lose the hat after Damien freaks out about going in the church. But I would have loved to see like a full like look of that outfit because it was really great. And I think the head wrap made that outfit. And I think sometimes that does happen. When I wear my head wrap, sometimes I'm like, this makes the outfit. And that's why that one really stood out to me. And leave me a comment below if you love like that look. I think that look is really iconic and it's just something different that was thrown into the mix in the movie. Next up is the scene where she is cleaning and ends up falling because Damien kind of basically runs into her with his bike. Mhm. And so the outfit is a pair of jeans, they're bell bottoms. She's wearing like a white shirt and she has this really cool scarf addition to like accessorize it. And I love the way she's wearing that scarf. And I'll insert an image right here. And I love it. It's just a really cool casual 70s outfit. And I definitely would love to like replicate this. And I think it'd be really easy to do because all you need is like kind of like a white sweater and a scarf with a little bit of a pattern on it. I have one, but I think the pattern is too bold and bright. I need something more like muted. And we talked before, 76 was all about kind of like earthy tones. So maybe something with earthy tones would work a little bit better, but I love it. And I love anything with like a bell bottom jean. I'm here for it. High-waisted bell bottom jeans of the 70s were just They were the best. And I know I mentioned that before in the last video, the Amityville Horror, that showcased tons of denim. But this is really the only denim you get in this film. Now let's take a look at Damien's fashion. And I don't normally like really look at the fashion of the kids, unless it's like really iconic and I'm like, I would eventually love when I have children to get some clothes like that for them. Just saying. So the first is that iconic image of Damien in the graveyard. It's from the last scene of the movie, and it's his suit and that cute little hat. I love that. That's such a cute like outfit for a little boy. Like I love it. I think it's just the hat again makes that look. Just like that head wrap made Catherine's look, this hat makes that look. It makes it just amazing. And the next look of Damien's that I really enjoyed was the one where he was riding the bike. He's in this brown and white sweater, and it has a really cool like 70s-esque collar. And collars were really big in the 70s, especially like dagger collars. This one's more rounded, and he had a matching pair of brown pants on. And I just loved this look. I thought it was super cute. As cute as the Antichrist can be, you know? And I absolutely like thought this was a great like little boy's outfit from the 70s and depicted like what, kids outfits like looked like in the 70s. This was like a good example of that and I really enjoyed it. And I love a good like matchy outfit. I'm into it. I'm here for it. Overall, the fashion really it has a big range in this movie because you're gonna see a lot more dressy, chic type fashion because they are diplomats when they're out and about and going to events. But you're also gonna see kind of that what would, a modern mom wear in the 70s when she's like at the birthday party? And then like a laid back look when somebody is, at home and just relaxing or doing chores. With the scene where she ends up falling off of the second floor of the balcony. So I love that it had a range and definitely was a showcase of great, like mid to late 70s fashion. And ultimately, it is such a great horror movie. This is one of probably on my top list of horror movies, just because it is a very different, dark, and like eerie horror movie. And I think that's what scares me the most in horror movies, those types of movies. I can sit and watch and laugh at a Jason Friday the 13th movie. These type of movies, it's like it sits with you for a little bit. Like it's not a movie you're like, let's go lay in bed and try to fall asleep and let's put on the Omen. Like that's not happening. Like it's not a good idea. So for me, I think it is a movie. If you love horror and you love the 60s and 70s, this is a great one to watch. And it showcased a lot of fashion, but it's not like over the top. If you're looking for over the top, like 70s peak fashion in a horror movie, The Velvet Vampire is probably one of my favorite picks for that. And it's just really like it's 70s. So it's definitely not going to be that for you if that's really what you're interested in, besides that horror theme. So if you're really into horror and love a little bit of fashion dribbled in, this is a really great movie to watch. And overall, I said, the best horror movies of all time for sure. Um, Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this segment of our 60s and 70s horror films and fashion series with The Omen. And I will see you guys next time. Make sure you subscribe if you are interested when more videos come out or digging into some of the old videos that are up. Check those out. Also, make sure you like and share. That would be amazing. And it means a ton to me when you guys do. Thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys next time.